Coming up on FSU Headlines, a Florida State University student competes for one of the most prestigious scholarships in the world.
Plus, the Black Student Union has gotten a makeover. We'll take you inside their new digs coming up.
And little listeners get an earful of the arts thanks to Florida State University's Performing Arts Series.
Stay tuned for these stories and more. FSU Headlines starts now.
Hello and welcome to another edition of FSU Headlines, coming to you from the beautiful campus of Florida State University here in Tallahassee. I'm Dennis Schnitker.
And I'm Seshmi Hayes. The Rhodes Scholarship is regarded as the world's most prestigious student honor.
And a Florida State University student was recently a finalist for this coveted honor. FSU Headlines reporter Mark Vaughn has his story.
An opportunity of a lifetime doesn't just happen. It takes hard work, dedication, and a lot of preparation. Just ask Florida State University senior political science and psychology major, Gil Damon.
It's pretty unique to have this experience, and especially to, have a background from a rural place, a place that faced a number of challenges growing up, and I'm going to make the most of it.
Damon is one of the select few college students invited to be interviewed for the prestigious Rhodes Scholarship.
I was astonished to make it this far, to have been invited for an interview. I really, and still am. It is surreal. It is something that is just really exciting.
Gil Damon charted an unconventional path on his journey to becoming a finalist for the Rhodes Scholarship. He studied 1 year at Tallahassee Community College before transferring to Florida State, where he's earned a perfect 4.0 GPA so far. He's interned at NASA, the Florida Capitol, and the United States Senate, and he's also interned at the White House.
It was, just a tremendous honor, and I was incredibly lucky to have interned in the White House, to have spent some time at NASA. And, those experiences inform a lot of the interaction that I see between science and policy.
Out here, welcome to the beautiful Wakulla River. This is an exciting time of year to be out here. The leaves are changing colors. We're getting a lot of animals here that spend their winters here.
And he also spent a summer piloting a 40-passenger tour boat down the Wakulla River.
Got to spend my days conveying scientific information about these incredible ecosystems that we have locally to folks on my tours. And so those experiences I think combine in a way that allows me to understand at the ground level, but also on the policy side, what's going on with the interaction between science and politics.
Gil Damon grew up along the Gulf Coast in Wakulla County and saw firsthand the devastation of Hurricane Dennis in 2005 and the serious environmental and economic damage caused by the BP oil spill in 2010. Those lessons and his own intellectual curiosity led him to focus his studies on the way science and public policy interact.
What I'd like to do is focus my life in a way where science and politics can understand each other better, can work better together, and can produce better outcomes.
All of those experiences helped him stand out among the many applicants for the Rhodes Scholarship. And while he didn't ultimately earn one of just 32 scholarships this year, the experience has deepened his passion for the pursuit of knowledge going forward. For FSU Headlines, I'm Mark Vaughn.
Damon joins 6 other Florida State University students who've been selected as Rhodes finalists in the last 11 years. And get this, the last 3 Rhodes Scholars selected from public universities in the state of Florida, they were all Florida State University students.
That's amazing, Dennis. Our students, they are great.
They absolutely are. Well, speaking of students, graduate students can spend years researching and writing a thesis paper. So imagine asking those students to explain their thesis in 3 minutes or less.
Not a hard task at all. That's right, Dennis, and that's exactly what Florida State University does during its annual 3-minute thesis competition. These Florida State doctoral candidates presented their research findings to a packed room. Take a look.
There were so many amazing talks, pieces of people building knowledge from scratch.
Competition where graduate students tell a non-specialist audience about their thesis work. We need to communicate and educate the the public and the non-specialist about the important work that goes on at universities without falling into jargon. It was just breathtaking to see the diversity of the topics and the beauty of the talks that we heard.
This is the first time the College of Education or School of Teacher Education has had a competitor, to my knowledge, and so it's not only humbling to be representing them, but also to be representing the university. I really appreciate this opportunity, and I can't speak highly enough of the competitors and the other folks who shared tonight.
And education PhD candidate Shannon Gooden is this year's winner. She'll go on to compete in the regional competition in the spring. Shannon takes home a first place stipend of $1,000, while the runner-up receives $750, and the People's Choice winner takes home a $500 award. And for 7 Florida State alumni, success has become a way of life all before their 30th birthday. It's Florida State's annual 7 Under 30 event and shines a light on Florida State's best. I had a chance to cover this year's event, where one FSU student received some exciting national attention.
Every few weeks to edge up my hair. Somebody trap back there? Was it 8 under 30 and then they put one guy back there?
Joshua Esnard is just one of 7 alumni featured at this year's 7 Under 30. It's Florida State's 6th year hosting the event, which features 7 successful FSU grads who started a business before the age of 30. Wendy Plant, the director of the Center for Student Engagement, says it's one of the Jim Moran School of Entrepreneurship's biggest events.
This year, we're particularly excited because 4 of these were actually entrepreneurship majors. And they're from 5 different colleges, so some of them have several different degrees.
More than 100 students filled the audience at the event, eagerly listening to their peers who were just in their shoes. Plant says the peer-to-peer feedback is imperative.
Students hear a lot from faculty and kind of the older generation, and I think for them to see younger people that were just like they were here as students, undergrad at FSU. And so to hear from them that they got out and they did it, they went for it and started companies, and what happened, it means a lot to them. It's more relatable, and they can really understand and get the idea that they could do that themselves.
She said, "You never finish what you start." And I'm like, you just made a statement that is more powerful than me just putting a door on some hinges. I think she really meant I never finish what I start as far as my life goals. I'm content with a good job, and I'm not finishing any projects or inventions that I have. So I actually took it more serious than putting a door on the hinges. I took it as, you know what, I need to actually take that jump and show up for my life. So
one Florida State alumni story that they're hearing is one that has recently grabbed national attention on ABC Shark Tank. Joshua Esnard is a 2008 graduate of the FSU College of Business and inventor of the Cut Buddy, a haircut and beard grooming tool that he began working on at the age of 13. Years later, he says his time at FSU was perfect for building his skills that will last him a lifetime.
There are 2 sides of being at college, and I think that many students don't realize that they're learning the skills to run a business when they're not even in the classroom. For college, one, you have to have responsibilities. Now you're paying bills. You have to be on time paying bills. You also have to have the social aspect with, talking with people, and you also have to have time management with your classes. But then there's the other aspect, which is the academic side. And for me, I had classes like business writing and marketing classes that taught me about customer service, best face forward. I read a book called Raving Fans when I did a hospitality class. I did a business writing class that actually had an elevator pitch. And then we also did classes where we would try and sell products on eBay by creating a business. So I thank you, FSU.
And you can see more on this year's speakers by visiting jimmoranschool.fsu.edu.
Coming up next, it's described as a home away from home.
Having a place that students can call home, and not just for black students, but people who are of like minds and philosophies.
And for the first time in several decades, one Florida State University organization is getting a major upgrade to their digs and in an all-new location. That's next.
What does preeminence look like?
Moonlight, Best Picture.
Florida State University.
When you buy a Florida State University license plate,
you're not just showing your school spirit.
You're supporting students like us.
In the lab,
in the classroom,
and in the library.
Putting this tag on your vehicle helps Florida State students achieve their dreams. So show your pride. Purchase an FSU license plate today.
Welcome back to FSU Headlines. I'm Dennis Schnitker. Florida State University's efforts to create an engaged and inclusive campus community are being recognized for the 4th year in a row. Insight into Diversity magazine is once again recognizing Florida State as a national beacon for diversity and inclusion as a HEAT Award winner. The HEAT Award is given to colleges and universities that demonstrate an outstanding commitment to diversity and inclusion. And FSU has not only received this honor, but was further recognized as a diversity champion. Among the steps the university has taken to implement its continuing initiative to improve diversity and inclusion are including it as a standalone goal in its 5-year strategic plan, launching the student-driven university-wide diversity and inclusion campaign known as the Power of We, and contracting with the National Coalition Building Institute to establish the university as an affiliate and develop a campus team, among many other things. Insight into Diversity magazine is the oldest and largest diversity-focused publication in higher education.
Alumni and friends got a sneak peek of Florida State University's new Black Student Union during homecoming week.
FSU Headlines reporter Cara Irby joins us now from outside the new building, described as a home away from home and a place for multicultural fellowship and education.
That's right, Dennis. This 2-story state-of-the-art building behind me was filled with excited students showing off the facility and sharing their hopes for the new and improved Black Student Union.
Welcome to our Black Student Union House preview.
Coinciding with this year's homecoming theme, Spirit of Unity, the BSU sneak peek was a time where many expressed their desires for the new building on West Jefferson Street to be a place for students of all backgrounds.
It's going to be a place for all of our students to come and talk to each other, share ideas. It's a lovely spot, lovely place, and I just can see all kinds of good things coming out of this building. Not the building itself, but the people who will be in it, sharing their ideas and sharing their hopes and dreams for the future of Florida State and for our state and nation. It's a great place. We're proud of it.
Established in 1968, the Black Student Union was founded as a student government agency, offering African American students a form of identity, a social life, and a vehicle of communication to the FSU faculty and administration. Eric Friel, the current president of the FSU National Black Alumni, was one of the people who helped bring the project to fruition. He called it a dream at least 15 years in the making.
When we came with this, we had a vision that was larger than the house. We had a vision that said it needs to be a center. It needs to have an academic component. We need to learn things here, not just hang out, which there'll be some nice hangout spaces, but we need to have something more significant that represents our culture, that others can come and see this is the Black student experience at Florida State University.
Another FSU alum, Sean Pittman, was credited in helping secure the $1.5 million from the Florida legislature to help with the building.
The Black Student Union and other student unions have always served that interest of supporting one another and leaving the door open and the ladder out, so to speak, and a catalyst for commonality for students who have come before and who are here now. And it still serves that purpose. That overlaps with everything, whether it's academics or sports or student involvement, family situations. So having a place for all of that to be able to happen is ideal.
Andrew Melville, FSU senior and current BSU president, had to fight back tears watching people tour the building. A dream made reality under his administration.
Now that we're here, it's really, I can't even put it to words. I really want to cry. I'm trying not to cry, but it's just so much of a surreal moment to me.
The Black Student Union will officially move into their new home during the winter break. They look forward to a grand opening complete with a ribbon cutting in the spring, which you can catch right here on FSU Headlines. I'm Cara Irby. Dennis, Seshmi, back to you.
Thanks so much, Cara. Well, they'll be busy working at the new BSU house. A little mental R&R is in store and a new flat, winding path that promotes reflection, thinking, and well-being. But don't call it a maze because you'll quickly be corrected. It is, in fact, a labyrinth. Here's a look at the grand opening.
This morning, I would like to welcome you to the FSU Labyrinth with a story, a purpose, and some call and response. A labyrinth is a gift of time. It is a gift you give yourself and is designed specifically for what you need it to be. The path leads, your body follows, and your mind explores. A labyrinth is the opposite of a maze. It is not designed for you to get lost in your walk, but instead to get lost and found in your thoughts.
Our university can be such a busy environment. Students are stressed about tests, faculty are stressed about publishing, staff always has an endless to-do list, and so a labyrinth represents a physical space where people can just be in touch with their thoughts, walk towards the center of the labyrinth, walk out, and usually have some sort of insight that brings them peace.
The labyrinth is intended to provide a space for contemplation, meditation, critical thinking, really an opportunity for our students and campus community to unwind and really meditate on campus, on a space. As we seek to be a top institution in this country, we know that what happens in the classroom and what happens outside the classroom matter a great deal.
It is the both and. It is the both and of what incredible projects can be. Both campus beautification and reflection thinking, both academic outcome and a beautiful place to sit in between classes. And so what our committee was able to do was come together with an idea, yet informed by different perspectives, to create something larger than we could ever imagine. The whole point of a labyrinth, and it's the opposite of a maze, it is the idea that you don't get lost by walking. The path is there for you and is a singular path. And so you can walk the path and then get lost in your thoughts. And through getting lost in our thoughts, we can often find ourselves.
And if you'd like to check out the new FSU Labyrinth, it's located between the Florida State College of Medicine and the Psychology Building.
Opening night's Performing Arts at Florida State University presents a unique learning experience for local school children. The North Florida School Tour recently introduced students at Tallahassee's McClay School to traditional Chinese art and music. The elementary age students got a special treat as they heard and watched a performance of traditional Chinese music and art, all in one outstanding performance. A FAMU art professor drew traditional art on stage, while the FSU director of Chinese Music Ensemble performed traditional Chinese songs for the students.
I think music, art are natural to kids, to everyone, and that's the place that they can explore through sound, through color, through sense, like their innate natural senses, and so I think we have to develop these natural senses. This is important for, later on they develop their humanity, be more mature, then they can still keep this original, like innate ability to see the world, see the color, smell, and see the, the nature.
I'm a big proponent of arts in the schools, and I think it's important to get things that are here locally into the schools, and so when the opportunity came about, it is our 50th anniversary here at McClay School, and so we're celebrating the diversity of the school and the diversity of clubs and organizations, and it just seemed like a perfect fit to come onto the campus.
Coming up next on FSU Headlines, as the fall sports season comes to a close, we'll head to the soccer field to see how the Noles finished out the season.
And FSU has a brand new football coach. We'll tell you all about it coming up next.
Welcome back to FSU Headlines. I'm Dennis Schnitker.
And I'm Seshmi Hayes. The fall semester is coming to a close, and that means the fall sports are also wrapping up their season. On the soccer pitch, it was another fun season with the Noles making yet another NCAA tournament.
That's right, Seshmi, and the indoor volleyball team joined their fellow Noles in the NCAA tournament this year as well. FSU Headlines, Mark Vaughn joins us now to break down how those teams did and to give us a recap of some of the other fall sports teams as well. Mark?
Thanks, Dennis and Seshmi. Well, it was a fall to remember here for Seminole Athletics, and we'll get to some of that soccer and, of course, the other sports. But first, the big news coming out of Tallahassee this semester, football, and, of course, a new head coach here at Florida State. FSU announcing that Willie Taggart, the former coach at Western Kentucky, South Florida, and Oregon, has agreed to become the next head football coach of the Seminoles football program. Taggart is a Bradenton native and actually grew up as a Florida State fan, he says, so this is a dream scenario for him. He is the 10th full-time head coach in program history and just the 3rd head coach since 1976 when legendary Bobby Bowden first took over in Tallahassee. Taggart takes over after Jimbo Fisher recently left after 11 seasons with FSU, of course 8 of those as the head coach here. Taggart brings a 47-50 overall record as head coach, but that mark includes some massive rebuilding jobs at Western Kentucky and South Florida, and of course a quick 1-year turnaround at Oregon.
We're not going to blame anyone. We're not going to make any excuses. We're going to go out and we're going to do something, and that's what we're going to be about. I appreciate every single one of you so much, and I look forward to getting to know every single one of you in this room and remember every single body in here name. That'll be big time. But I am so thrilled and excited to be the head football coach here at FSU. Go Noles!
And speaking of football, the Seminole football team will be yet again playing in a bowl game thanks to a 6th win this season to end the regular season against Louisiana Monroe. You'll remember that game was rescheduled after Hurricane Irma earlier in the season. The Noles taking home the 42-10 win to end the regular season, and that helped the Noles make it to the state of Louisiana. The Florida State football team will play Southern Miss in the Walk-Ons Independence Bowl in Shreveport, Louisiana on December 27th. The bowl selection marks the 36th straight postseason appearance for the Seminoles, who won 3 in a row and 4 of their final 5 games to make it to bowl eligibility. Now let's talk about soccer and the end to the season for the Noles on the soccer pitch. The Noles making the NCAAs again, first taking on Ole Miss at home at the Seminole Soccer Complex. They take that match easily with a 5-0 score, and that put the Noles on the road to Stanford for the second round of the NCAA tournament and a matchup with the Arizona Wildcats. That game a defensive struggle, at least for the Arizona side, because the Noles and Dana Castellanos put up 2 points, scoring those goals to take the match and move into the 3rd round against the homestanding Stanford Cardinal. But that would be as far as the team could get this year, the Noles falling in a hard-fought battle to the Cardinal 1-0 to end their season 13-7-1 in the 3rd round of the NCAA tournament. Dana Castellanos earning an All-American status after the season for her performance in the 2017 campaign. The indoor volleyball team also in the NCAAs again this year, and in the first round it was a tough opponent in Washington State. The Florida State volleyball team dropping a tough match, ending its season in the first round of the NCAAs. They end the year with an 18-11 record. Despite a consistent and tough defensive performance, the Seminoles just didn't have enough to out-hit the Cougars, and the team was simply unable to gain an edge over Washington State in the second half of that match before falling. And finally, let's take a quick look at hoops. Both the men's and women's teams off to incredible starts. On the men's side, a 7-0 start was punctuated by a huge win on the road at Florida. The Noles holding the Gators to just 66 points en route to the 83-66 victory, making it 4 straight over the Gators in the series. Terrence Mann led the Noles with 25 points and 8 boards as FSU ran away with the big non-conference win. And on the women's side of things, the Noles just as hot to start the season. The team off to an 8-0 start for the 3rd time in program history. They also have a big win over the rival Gators this year. The Noles writing the outstanding play of Shakayla Thomas, who was recently named ESPNW Player of the Week. The Noles staying out of conference until the end of the month when they begin ACC play against UNC. That's a lot of sports action, but you don't have to miss any of it if you visit Seminoles.com. That's going to do it for me. Let's send things back to you.
Thanks so much, Mark. And finally, in the spirit of unity, more than 60 student groups paraded down College Avenue for the annual Homecoming Parade.
This year's parade featured performances by the Marching Chiefs, the Golden Girls, the Flying High Circus, and many more. Take a look at Homecoming 2017.
Oh my gosh, we love the Homecoming Parade. Now my kids might say I love it more than they do, but they at least are willing to come out and just enjoy the festivities.
The dancers. I like the drummers. Everything. We are Florida State. We are Florida State. Come on. We are Florida State.
I'm out here to support the city of Tallahassee and, of course, Seminoles, Seminole Nation.
The Grand Marshal for this year's parade was Jimmy Petronas, the Chief Financial Officer for the state of Florida. Well, that's going to do it for this edition of FSU Headlines, but you can see more news from Florida State University anytime at news.fsu.edu. It's the official news website of Florida State University.
For Dennis and everyone here at Florida State University, I'm Seshmi Hayes. Thank you guys for joining us, and we'll see you next time.